Hello sports fans, this video is a tutorial on how to ride your bicycle across the width of the state of California to get to Las Vegas from Orange County. This works for bike riding or motorcycles. It's 200 miles across the width of California as the crow flies. However, the circuitous route that you must take on the roads makes it about 260 miles across. The major points of interest are the Cajon Pass, Barstow, Baker, Halloran Summit, Primm, and Vegas itself. You're on I-15 most of the way riding on the shoulder on a bicycle, except for this one section from Victorville to Barstow where you must take National Trails Road. And there's a good reason why you must take that road, because on the freeway there's certain sections where there's no shoulder whatsoever and you would get killed if you were riding a bicycle. That's particularly true through the city of Barstow. You better not be on I-15 on going through Barstow, or else you're going to get hit from behind for sure in a car if you're on a bicycle. But on a motorcycle, it's a whole different story. We're going to be on I-15 all the way to Vegas. So here I'm on side streets leaving Yorba Linda, and initially you take the 91 Freeway East. Now on a bicycle I'd be on the Santa Ana River Trail out to whatever it is, out to San Bernardino. But here side streets 91 East and then 15 North to Victorville area, and then up to the Road Pass. I-15 north, and I'm crossing the 60 freeway. Gonna head on my way to get to the I-10 freeway in just a little bit, and then we're coming up on the base of the Cajon Pass shortly. I-15 North. We just went by Glen Helen Parkway, and now we're coming up on Cleghorn Road, which is Route 66, the old freeway. And this is where I get on the freeway for the first time on my bicycle. So I ride on the shoulder of the freeway all the way to Las Vegas. California lets you split lanes on a motorcycle, and it also allows bicycles to ride on the freeway on the shoulder when there's no other cross side streets available. So we're heading up the Cajon Pass. We go by this wait station. There's a street for going to Wrightwood or Big Bear. But we're right at the base of the Cajon Pass, and we're going to be going uphill. In people's minds, I think the Cajon Pass is such a huge obstacle. It's actually a piece of cake. It's only about a 900-foot vertical climb, and it's not that steep. It's about 4.5–5%, but it looms large in drivers' minds for some reason. So here we are, going uphill, flying by all the poor semis that are laboring up the hill, and then we come up to Hesperia at the top, and then it's a downhill rip to Victorville after that. On the bicycle, you've got to take the Frontage road, which parallels the freeway, but it's a gentle downhill of 2%, which is usable. And so you're able to cruise at 30 miles an hour on your bicycle without really busting a gut, which is nice. It's like nirvana, especially after going up the Cajon summit, to be able to go gentle downhill all the way. Here I am stopping for gas up at the top of, I think this is somewhere near Glenwood Outlets. Now I'm trying to get out of this gas station if I can. Jumping back on the freeway, and off we go. So this is a little peculiar. Normally you don't jump off the freeway here, but I did on purpose. That was a sloppy right turn, as you could tell, but no cars around, so I wasn't being careful. I was just being lazy. I'm on this Frontage road, which parallels the I-15 freeway. And this is what you ride your bicycle on. They want you to be on this Frontage road coming out of Barstow and going through Yermo. And generally, you're supposed to stay on this until Field Road or Harvard Road, I forget which. I jumped on this side street because I knew that I was going to be able to rip at 100 miles an hour without any traffic, and I could make a little bit better time than being on the freeway, because the freeway was a little bit congested, and I didn't feel like splitting lanes between cars. So on your bicycle, though, you're supposed to be on this Frontage road. Eventually this Frontage road turns into a washboard, and it's no fun to ride your bicycle on it. It's probably not fun to ride your motorcycle on it either. So I went until about Harvard Road, I think, and then I popped back on the freeway. When I'm riding my bicycle, I actually just stay on I-15. I'm on the Frontage road for part of the way through Yermo, But then at about, I don't even know what it's called, I jump on the freeway because it's a little bit smoother than this frontage road. But you can see that this frontage road is not too bad. And if there's a traffic jam on I-15 north or south, this is a nice alternative rather than sitting in traffic. Not many people know that this road exists. So now we're jumping back on the freeway, and we stay on it all the way to Vegas now. Desolate place, but it's in the middle of nowhere. Thank goodness they've got gas stations and food and whatnot. It's especially important if you're riding a bike. So now I stopped here with about 200 miles on my legs and maybe 6,000 feet of climbing. Now I got a 4,000 foot climb up the Halloran summit. A cop slowed down going up Halloran summit, and he was like, "Dude, where are you going? What are you doing?" Notice that the temperature is 120 in Baker, and I've gone over 180 miles already. And the cop was probably thinking, "You're never going to make it." Well, I met him up at the top of the Halloran summit, and I was fresh as a daisy going along. And he was kind of stunned that I'd made it up it so effortlessly, probably. But it was a piece of cake, actually, going up the Halloran summit, because I was in pretty good shape. this saddle where you climb out of Baker 4,000 feet, and then you come up to the Halloran summit, and there's like a saddle, and then there's another 900 or 1,000 feet to climb up to get to the top of Searchlight. You'd think that it would be kind of like demoralizing the first time you ride to Las Vegas. It is demoralizing because you're riding like 210, 220 miles. You get up to the top of that saddle, and you can see for as far as the eye can see, there's nothing but another uphill coming. After doing this 7 times, this is my 7th bike ride to Las Vegas, and it's my 3rd motorcycle trip to Las Vegas. Nothing phases you. You just take it in stride. You're patient, you persevere, and you work your way up to the top of the hill, and you get over, and then now you've got this screaming downhill into Nevada, and it's really kind of crazy. It's actually unusable speed, because your speed on a bicycle, you go above 40 miles per hour, and there's these huge holes for drainage, and if you hit one of them, it would flip you on your bicycle. So you got to be feathering your brakes all the way down, and you use up all that potential energy that you worked your butt off to get up out of Baker. You're not able to use all of the downhill because it's about a 8%, maybe a 10% decline dropping down into Nevada. But there's something heartwarming about it, because as you get to the bottom of the downhill and you can see Primm in the distance, and you realize, holy crap, I just pedaled my bicycle all the way across the width of California. And it kind of buoys your spirit to think that you covered that much ground and you're not dead. You know, you still have quite a bit of fight left in you. So now you work your way to Primm, and then you work your way to Jean, and then you work your way to Las Vegas. And it's actually one of the most relaxing things, the last stretch from Jean into Vegas, because you know the sun has begun to set. You know, it's a little bit low in the sky, cooler temps, and you've got this huge accomplishment of you just rode like 250 miles. Now you've only got like a remaining 10-15 miles to get to Vegas, which you know you can do, and so you get to savor your accomplishment. And there's no more hills to speak of. There's a slight uphill coming out of Jean, but it's not enough to cause any trouble. And it's a gentle downhill slope as you sail into Vegas, and you get to savor your victory riding your bicycle across the state of California. You want to eat carbohydrates, protein, and get some fat. You don't want to eat only carbs. You got to be careful that you don't bonk. You got to be careful that you don't run out of food, but you don't want to eat like a bunch of crap and have your blood sugar spiral out of control. So perfect bars, hamburgers, maybe a bag of chips to get some salt here and there. You know, you need a little bit of sodium replacement, but just eat kind of responsibly. At some point, listen to your body, and your palate will almost tell you what you need to eat. But don't eat 100% carbs, because that'll cause you to have an insulin spike and a blood sugar spike, and then you're going to bonk badly, and then you'll be really hating life. So you don't want to starve, you don't want a sugar high, you don't want to bonk. Las Vegas finally. Welcome to fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada. It's really nice to see the city, because it has all the amenities that you need, like food, water, rental car to get your butt back home. But it's kind of fun going through Las Vegas. It's sort of an exciting place, and it is not too easy to do. Anyway, nice accomplishment to either ride your motorcycle in Vegas or